Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your first of 2 uploads today. This earlier upload will be the end of season awards for season 3, and at the usual slot of 3 PM UK, we will have episode 1 of season 4 of this realistic road to glory. If you want to avoid spoilers for what happened in season 3, don't watch this one yet. Go and watch yesterday's season finale. Worth your watch for sure, up there with one of, if not perhaps the most dramatic end of a season ever on the channel. I shall say no more from that point further forward. I'm about to spoil it for you, so do click off in a moment. We're going to be doing the end of season awards here, so as per usual, we will be offering you the Player of the Year, the Young Player of the Year, the Fans Player of the Year, Most Improved, Signing of the Season, and Goal of the Season. The Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year are voted for, or decided upon by us in general, my input and your input. Fans Player of the Year is pretty self-explanatory. You guys picked that one. Most Improved is picked by you guys, as well as Signing of the Season. And then Goal of the Season, there'll be a link in the description to a poll on Twitter where you can go and vote for your Goal of the Season. But of course, I will need to show you those goals first, so don't go and vote yet. But do by all means go and follow me on Twitter, because it'd be great to have you over there. And do make sure you come and join me on stream as well, be that on Twitch or on YouTube, on the Chesnoid Live YouTube channel, so you can check out all of the content in its entirety from start to finish and see every minute of every session and every game that we play. Right, well, without any further ado, we should start with I'm just going to work my way down the list as I usually do. Your Player of the Year for Season 3 in this save is... Your Player of the Season for this third year is none other than Kelland Watts, the man that we brought in as to replicate the Cambridge United signing in real life, was instrumental in our defensive efforts to stay in the league. There's your spoiler. Kelland Watts played a total of 49 games. He was an ever-present in every single championship game this season, all 46 games played. Picked up 2 goals as well, including a very impressive header in a vital moment in the run-in. And Kelland Watts epitomised the grit and determination of the entirety of the defensive unit to keep us in the division. We did score goals at the other end, and they were important too, but most crucially, when it came to it, we kept some clean sheets at the end of the season and drove the defensive effort forward to ensure that we survived in the championship and will be at that level again for season 4. He grew by 3 from 68 to 71 in this season with us, joined us for a nominal fee of about £1.5 million, there or thereabouts, and well, worth every single penny and played almost every single minute as well. A fully deserved Player of the Season for Season 3. Player of the Season could have gone a number of different ways this year. However, Young Player of the Year kinda only really goes one way, doesn't it? And you guys were very adamant that it should go one way. You can probably put 2 and 2 together, to be completely honest, to find out who Young Player of the Season was. Young Player of the Season was indeed, of course, none other than Kirk Henderson. 19 years of age, 45 games played, not 46, but the man that grew so well that he earned himself the captain's armband, such was his importance to the side this year, and he played all but 1 game, 45, because only 1 goal and no assists. So that tells you exactly the role that Kirk Henderson plays in this side, and it speaks volumes that in a relegation battle season, the Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year are both defence-minded, defensive priority players. Obviously, a centre-back is solely defensive priority, and Kirk Henderson was in there as the CDM alongside perhaps a little bit more freedom of a role in the centre-mid alongside him in Luke Berry and then subsequently Ben Osborne. But he grew by +4 this year, of course, because he won an award last year as well. And Kirk Henderson, for the 2nd year in a row, I believe, actually, if I bring the spreadsheet up, a 2nd year in a row, wins Young Player of the Season. Congratulations, Kirk. That was pretty overwhelming in the response in the comment section. To be fair, he could very well have won Player of the Year as well, but it was a cross-up between a number of different players for Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year, but Kelland Watts edged it, and there was no other shoe-in other than Kirk Henderson for Young Player of the Year. Now, the Fans Player of the Year was heavily weighted also. The Player of the Season could have gone a number of ways. Young Player of the Season was very much obvious, and Fans Player of the Year was pretty strongly weighted as well. There were a handful of names that were quite regular, but there was one that stood out more so than any others. So your Fans Player of the Year is a man that you will know very well indeed, because he just won Young Player of the Year as well. It's Kirk Henderson. Again, you guys love this guy. Through our youth system, he's one of our own, and you guys adore him in our midfield. He's been the rock that's held the midfield together for 18 months now or so in game, and will continue to do so in the Championship next season as we look to have him continue to grow and hopefully guide us eventually to the Premier League is the plan. So Player of the Season, Kelland Watts, and sweeping up Young Player and Fans Player of the Year, it's one of our own, Kirk Henderson. Now, Most Improved Player could well have gone to Kirk Henderson as well, because he grew by more ratings than anyone else in our side, but mainly only because he won an award last year, so he was allowed to grow by +4 rather than +3 like everybody else in the squad. So it would be kind of cheating. Also, Sam Forrest grew by +8, but that was because he was on loan, not because he put the performances in for us to earn that Most Improved role. It was kind of just gifted to him because the game is the game. And there were a number that could be in for Most Improved. Special shout out to Dylan Dodds, who worked his way into the starting lineup with an improvement in his performances. However, ultimately, I think it can really only go one way. It would only be fair for Most Improved to go one way, and that is to the man that earned his starting spot back again by improving his performances. And again, with a relegation season, it's a defensive side of the pitch player, Jack Stephens. He's been our number one for the majority of the save. When Ingram first came in, after Stephens had a little bit of a dodgy start to the year, we replaced him. Ingram took that number one shirt and ran with it for a little while before Jack Stephens got a couple of opportunities and grasped them. And to be fair, when Stephens wasn't performing at the beginning of the season, it was more because we were trialling different formations and were conceding a lot of goals and different tactics, and it didn't really work. We partially put some of the blame upon Jack Stephens that might have been a little bit harsh to have done so. Once we went back to tried and tested 4-2-3-1 wing play, Jack was back and improved with his performances throughout the course of the year. Like I say, special mention to Kelland Watts for being one of the Most Improved players by +3 this year and rock solid. Kirk Henderson, of course, up 4 as well. And you guys really enjoyed seeing Dylan Dodds break into the starting lineup. 6 goals, 5 assists for him this season. 11 contributions in 32 games. For a winger, 1 in 3 is actually really not that bad at all. And at just 19 years of age, Dylan Dodds will be the go-to right-sided midfielder for us for next season as well. That is for damned sure. So Most Improved goes to not Dylan Dodds as we're on him here, but our number one, as he will be as we move into next season, Jack Stephens. So with one award left to give right now before we move on to the goal of the season vote, it's signing of the season. Now, just as Young Player of the Year was pretty obvious, I'm not going to delve and wait on it. You already know. You already know who signing of the season is going to be. Oh, we actually changed his position, didn't we? I was scrolling looking for him in centre mid. It's Ben Osborne. It had to be Ben Osborne, the man that came in when we needed some direction and a little bit of leadership And boy, did he grab the team, the squad, the entire club by the scruff of the neck and drag us to survival. The post hit a couple of episodes ago was, at the time, it shook us to our core. It shook the comment section to its core as well. You guys were just as heartbroken as I was in the moment that Ben Osborne hit the post in the manner in which he did. And there were multiple comments reflecting as such. Some saying that it hurt your souls to see him hit the post with that left-footed strike. Ultimately, we were able to get the job done. And even though he didn't score an important goal on that occasion, he very much did on a number of other occasions. It couldn't have gone to anyone else this year. It just absolutely had to be Ben Osborne for signing of the season. There will be a big turnover of players between Season 3 and Season 4, just as there was between Season 2 and Season 3. So we are going to see players, well, I can show you all those that are running out of contract. Ingram, Semmer, Berry, Zeno, Job, Cousins, Rafferty, Kingsley. They're going back to their parent clubs of Silla, Alves and Keely Good. They're all going. That's, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 players of our 33-man squad gone before we've even begun the transfer window. We're, of course, looking to sell Adam Clarkson as well. We're potentially going to move on Liam Lee if bids come in as well. There's a lot happening. A hell of a lot happening at the end of the season. So there's potentially going to be more players leaving too. And, of course, incomings by the bucket load when we get to Season 4. But there's one award left to hand out. But you guys need to vote for it. So let me show you your 4 nominees for Goal of the Season. Your first option for Goal of the Season, in fact, options 1, 2 and 3 all came in the same episode. There's been a bit of a theme so far in the 3 seasons we've done to this point for the Goal of the Season. Each year, there have been multiple goals from the same episode, maximising itself this year with 3 of 4. Maybe in Season 4, every single nominee will come from the same episode. This one was a very important goal at the time. This win against Luton, as Benny gifts one bit, this win against Luton was one of the catalysts to turn our season around. And of course, the man that scored the goal to begin that catalyst was your signing of the season. This is how he picked the club and squad up by the scruff of the neck and dragged us towards safety. Picks the ball up here and well. When I watched that back for the first time, I'd forgotten how slightly mental I went when it went in. That left-footed strike was sensational. From the edge of the box, whipping it into the bottom corner. He did indeed help keep us here. Against a side as good as Luton, and, alright, facials, and a goal of that quality, there was no way that this couldn't have been on the list. Now, last season we had a solo run in the Goal of the Season from Alex Grieve. This year, it's not one individual that makes this. It's the entirety of the team move. This one came in the same episode as we mentioned, and against a side that we very much didn't expect to beat either. We start actually with them having an effort, and technically the move starts with the goalkeeper. Mackenzie into Watts. That's 3 people involved. Liam Lee is a 4th. Brophy is a 5th. Henderson is a 6th. Here on the outside comes Mackenzie again. 6 players involved in this move so far. Into Henderson again. And Liam Lee again. Then to Osborne 7. And into Kusini Yengi 8. From back to front, 8 of the 11 involved. That was Man City-esque, was the comment that suggested it for the Goal of the Season. And I hadn't, because I was in the process of commentating the whole thing at the time, I hadn't actually truly acknowledged the quality of that move until it was pointed out to me. Almost the entire team, from quite literally one baseline to the other, from back to front, away from home at the Stadium of Light against one of the strongest sides in the division to give us back-to-back victories for the first time in the season. This is where we started to show that little bit of quality, that spark. Osborne got the assist because of course he did. To help us start to believe that we could actually pull the Great Escape off. And we did. Your third option comes from the same game, and we've had that before as well. We had 2 goals in the same game in Season 1. This is in the same episode. Dodds starts to move off, and Dodds will end the move as well. This is where he really burst onto the scene, Micah Richards-esque. Cutting inside the defender and slamming it into the top corner. We've had one effort that was just all about the team, one effort that was all about the finish, and one effort that was instrumental in the emergence of a player that very nearly won Most Improved Player of the Season. This was the making of Dylan Dodds, even though he almost made his career at Cambridge United last season when he scored a decent goal. That was the one that made the ultimate difference, that saw him cement himself in the starting lineup. The 4th goal for goal of the season is the one you've probably been waiting for, more so than anything else. This is the one that's more of the individual stunner. Ben Osborne's was just a very, very good goal. This one is the one that's out of the ordinary, the extraordinary. It comes from Kusini Yengi. It's against Millwall. We were 1-0 down at the time, and we were able to get ourselves level with this. Brown gets down the line and stands it up.
Oh my God, Kusini Yengi is back. Goal of the season contender for sure. Probable winner anyway.
There you go. That's what we thought at the time, and to be honest, at the end of the season, I think that's probably how I see it going. Season 1, I thought there was a bit of a standout candidate. Season 2, no, there wasn't really a standout candidate for Season 2, but Season 3, I think that might be the standout candidate. By all means, don't just vote for it because I said I think it might win. Last season, I think I said one that I thought might win, and actually it didn't. It was Marcus Brown that won goal of the season last year. But that from Kusini Yengi is right up there with some of the best goals we've scored in the entire save so far. We actually had an overhead kick scored against us in Football Manager, which is now back on the second channel, if you wanted to check it out, plug. But it's very rare that I actually pull something out of the bag myself in that regard. One that stands out in the mind is FIFA 19 overhead kick for Emmanuel Sabi. That went down in folklore on the channel because he didn't score for something like 30 games and then popped up with an overhead kick for his first goal for the club. It might be 19 games. Still, a bloody long time for a brand new striker. Kusini Yengi's been scoring goals for us throughout the save. It took him a while to get going in the Championship, but when he did get going, he did put the ball in the back of the net. Whether he stays as our starting striker for next season, we don't yet know. That's where you guys will come in, and the transfer window will develop itself literally later on today as you watch the first episode of Season 4. But that's all for this end of season awards ceremony. Thank you very much for watching. To recap then, your player of the season is Kelland Watts. Your young player of the season is Kirk Henderson. Your fans player of the season is also Kirk Henderson. Most improved, Jack Stevens. Signing of the season, Ben Osborne. And goal of the season to be confirmed by the vote that's ongoing over on Twitter right now. There's a link to it in the description down below. Let me know which way you voted in the comment section. Let me know what you think I should do in the transfer window for Season 4. And keep your eyes peeled for episode 1 of Season 4 a little bit later on this afternoon. That's all from me for now. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in a couple of hours' time.